Welcome, I'm Dr. Jenna Scott with Southeast Natural Medicine, here for another educational video. Today's topic is high blood pressure. As of 2022, it was reported that approximately 50% of Americans suffer from hypertension, also known as high blood pressure. What is needed to maintain good blood pressure? Blood vessels are basically layers of muscle, okay? So you have three main layers, and they together make up these tubes called blood vessels. If the blood vessels get too stiff, if there's a lot of inflammation, they start to not work correctly, okay? What makes blood pressure is the increase and the decrease in the diameter of a blood vessel, okay? That's what, with every heartbeat, with every pump of the heart pushes blood through the blood vessels, and that goes from your head to your toes. That is what makes up blood pressure, okay? So you've probably gone to the doctor before and had an arm cuff or a wrist cuff perhaps, and got a number maybe around 120/70. That's considered the ideal blood pressure, okay? So it's really a difference in when the blood vessel is fully expanded versus when it's at its smallest diameter, okay? And that difference is what makes up the numbers of 120 versus 70, okay? So that's a 50 number difference between the diameter and how much pressure really is going through when the diameter is this versus when it's this, okay? So what's involved in regulating healthy blood pressure? So much, okay? Our exercise routines, our habits, healthy habits, unhealthy habits, our diet is so important, okay, about as to what goes into regulating our blood pressure, okay? Our hydration status. If there's less water going through, then the blood vessels actually get more stiff and the pressure goes up, okay? So simply hydrating can really maintain healthy blood pressure. Nutrients like potassium, magnesium, and omega-3s are really good for regulating and maintaining healthy blood pressure because they really they essentially help maintain elasticity of the blood vessel. And the more elastic the blood vessel can be, the more it can expand and contract like this, the healthier the blood pressure is. Okay, with age, with high sugar intake, with lots of stress, those blood vessels become more stiff, and then they can't expand and contract as much, and that ultimately increases our blood pressure, okay? So limiting sugar is probably the most important dietary approach to maintaining and achieving healthy blood pressure, okay? And I mentioned hydration status. If you're dehydrated, your pressure goes up, okay? Ultimately, if you're so dehydrated, your blood pressure actually drops, but that's nearly at the point of like you're in a hospital, you're so sick, your blood pressure is actually going to drop from dehydration. Usually though, for several months or years, it actually goes up from dehydration, okay? Another really important factor is reducing stress, okay? We live in a very stressed out world. You go flip on the news at night and within seconds, your blood pressure probably starts rising, okay? If you see all the craziness going on in our world. So reducing stress, managing our stress is so important. Having a healthy outlet for managing stress, whether that's reading a book, listening to an audiobook, or taking an Epsom salt bath is a great idea also. Calling a friend, doing a meditation, going outside, grounding, putting your bare feet on the bare earth. Excellent for helping reduce stress, cortisol levels, and so on. Okay, our stress hormone called cortisol actually raises our blood pressure. Lastly, there are herbs. You may have heard of herbs before like hawthorn or hibiscus that can really help with regulating blood pressure, and they can. So can parsley and celery, okay? So if you're cooking a lot, eating more celery, either eating it raw, sauteing it with other veggies, and parsley can really reduce blood pressure, okay? An important safety reminder is that when you actually start to naturally lower your blood pressure, if you are taking blood pressure medications, in theory you can actually start to lower your blood pressure too much because the natural treatments really work. So you really want to make sure that you work with a doctor like a naturopathic doctor who really understands herb-drug interactions, okay? Really important that you don't go too low because there are problems that can happen when your blood pressure goes too low, like dizziness, fainting, etc. Okay, so naturopathic doctors are trained in this. make sure you find a naturopathic doctor like myself that can work with that. I offer free meet and greets, so if you suffer from high blood pressure and you really want to get a handle on this and really learn to control and achieve naturally good blood pressure, schedule a meet and greet and see if we're a good fit. Well, that's all for today's video. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned something about regulating blood pressure and some of the things that can contribute to blood pressure, and then natural ways to start to lower that. Stay tuned for more content, and have a great rest of your day.